Let's go.
Bringing in the fun since 91. You're listening to The Nick Major Show, live on Adobe Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new live episode of the Nick Major Show right here on Adobe Radio. I'm your host, Nick Major. It is the first episode of 2022, so of course I had to do it live. And because it's the Nick Major Show, I figured the only way it made sense to do this was with me and only me. That's right, you got me for the next hour as well as Frankie. Frankie, what are you doing? Stop fighting the cables down there. Stop it. Hey, go in your kennel. As you can hear, it's going very well. And actually, it wasn't supposed to just be one sec. Frankie, stop! Get in your kennel. Okay, hold on. We're having technical difficulties with my dog, so just a sec. Frankie, come here. In your kennel. There you go. Good girl. I'm still here, guys. Can you hear me? What is up? There we go. So it wasn't just supposed to be me today, actually. My friend, you might know him, world-renowned YouTuber and famous Twitch streamer, Damon Fizzy, was supposed to stop by. We were on the phone last night with each other, and I was like, you want to come do my radio show tomorrow? I'm going to talk a lot about Betty White. I know you love Betty White. If you go to his Twitter profile, it has literally for years said Betty White fan page, and he was like, yeah, I'll come on. And I was like, do you want to pre-record it or do you want to do it live? And then we agreed to come on and do it live together because first show of 2022, talking about Betty White, a topic so important to Damon and many of us. But then like 20 minutes before the show, he said, oh, wait, I'm just kidding. I'm not coming on to your show. And I said, whatever, loser. I don't need you. I just need me. I just need this microphone. And I just need you lovely people. So be sure to tweet out using the hashtag #TheNickMajorShow so you can join me and keep me company on this very sad and lonely night. But we got plenty to talk about. Of course, we're going to be covering Betty White because she passed away just a couple short days ago, which has devastated everybody. Plus, I'll break down what I did over New Year's because I had a life-changing experience in San Diego, y'all. And that y'all was very intentional because y'all are going to know what I'm talking about when I was trying to do a Southern accent, and I sounded like I was doing it. Okay, let's try to get back to the Southern accent in a little bit, but we're going to be chatting about that. And I don't know if you guys have followed the case about the semi-truck driver who killed 4 people when the brakes went out on his truck, and he was sentenced to 110 years. My dog is trying to get out. This is the final dog issue of the night. I promise. One sec. Frankie, get your head back in there. The zipper is fully zipped up. Okay, she's in her carrier case now. But yes, so there was, in 2019, there was a guy driving his semi-truck. The brakes went out on it. He killed 4 people and was given a mandatory 110-year sentence. There's been an update to that case. So I want to chat about all of that as well and get your guys' thoughts on that. So again, tweet out this whole show and tweet out right now, I guess, some of your favorite Betty White moments. So when I get to that point in the show, I can just read your tweets. Because of course, although we are live, there is a bit of a delay. And just so that when I get there, I have stuff that we can all reflect on together in the moment. Of course, you can be talking to me as I'm discussing it, but just for when it first kicks off, I want to know what your favorite Betty White moments are, your favorite movies of her, and why we all loved her so much, what you loved about her. But I guess that I'll dive into this by first telling you guys about my New Year's, which was absolutely insane. Okay. And spooky, by the way, I see that tweet. Hi, hope you're having a fantastic week so far. Nick Major, not Damon Fizzy, because he decided to not be here today. And happy 2022, Spooky. Happy 2022 to you as well. I can't believe it's 2022. I always compare it to when the year 2000 happened because that was like a really memorable New Year's for me. I was like a little kid. I was in 3rd grade in Australia with my family in Sydney, Australia, and we were watching all the fireworks across the Harbour Bridge there, like somewhere near the Sydney Opera House. So that was crazy. And to now realize that was 22 years ago is absolutely horrifying and disgusting. But you know what? Whenever the New Year's used to come around when I was younger, like I would let it get me down. I would be so bummed at how fast the years went by because time goes by quick. I can't believe that we're already in a whole new year. And it used to just drive me crazy. Like I'd get bummed. I'd be down because of how fast time was going by, how old I was getting, but I've learned to embrace that. I've learned to love when there's New Year's. It always gives me a fresh boost of ambition to go out and try new things. I'm happy with what I did last year, with what I accomplished, especially because we are all still kind of in this shutdown world. It seems like now every year it's, okay, how much more are we outside of the pandemic? What can we do now? So it seems like 2022 is going to be even more open than 2021. And of course, 2020 was just completely shut down. But everybody, how was your 2021? Did you feel it ended well? What are some of your resolutions for 2022? And let's all hold each other accountable and make our dreams come true this year. Oh, I wish I grabbed a water because my throat is a little scratchy right now. So my New Year's, let me break it down for you. I went down to San Diego with my girlfriend. We got a hotel there, and we actually opted to go there the day before New Year's, try to avoid some of the crowds, and hotels were cheaper the day before, honestly. So we went down to, it's called the Gaslamp District, I think it's Gaslamp District, I believe. Really cute area down in San Diego. And we stayed at this place called Hotel Z. And it is the most dog-friendly hotel that you have ever seen in your life. When you first walk in, they have this really cute dog sculpture. And so I go in to check into the room, and then I let them know, I'm like, oh, I have a dog with me, by the way. And then so they give me just a package full of dog stuff, which included a dog bowl, dog treats. That may have been it, but it was still really cute. However, they say, oh, what's your dog's name, by the way? And I'm like, oh, her name's Frankenstein. And they're like, oh, that's the best dog name ever. They didn't say that, but I know they were thinking it. So then I go back out to my car. And then when we head inside to actually go up to our room, in front of the elevator in the lobby, there's like a little sign. Next to it is like a little jar of dog treats and stuff. And on the sign, it said, welcome, Frankenstein. And they had all of the other dog names that were staying in the hotel as well. And it was the cutest thing ever. And I took a picture of Frankie in front of it. I took a video of her in front of it. Pretty much it just made my entire day to see that. It was so adorable. But I think what made my day even more is that on the name of dogs that were there's probably only like 4 dogs in the hotel at the time. But one of the dogs, his name was oh crap, what was it? I'm blanking on it. It was Chili something. Let me see if I can pull up the picture of it. But it was really funny because if you put the word together, as I tried to just waste the time now, as I look up what the name of this damn dog was, am I ever going to find it, you guys? Let me see if there it is. Okay, I found it. So it was Chili Cheese was apparently the name of the dog. And then of course, if you put it all together, it's Chili Cheese Dog, which I think is adorable. I love unique, cute dog names. The other one on there is Pixie. That was the other dog. That's a boring dog name. Unless you have a dog named Pixie, then that is incredibly cute. But Chili Cheese and Frankenstein, those are some good, solid dog names. Then we get up to the hotel room, and all that they have playing on the TV screen is just like these whimsical videos of dogs welcoming us to the hotel, and I loved it. So it was cute. It was called Hotel Z, and its theme, other than dogs, is just like pineapples. Everything there is just pineapple, 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 and it was really cute. It was nice. Frankie got to enjoy a little getaway, excuse me. It was her first time in a hotel, and she absolutely killed it. And what I'm trying to do with my dog, as she's still a puppy, is that with Dracula, my last dog, he was the best. He was my dude. But I feel like after you get a chance to raise your own dog for the first time, you realize the do's and don'ts. I feel like the younger you are and the fact it's your first one, maybe you're a little more careless. So Drac, he could be very not too stoked when other dogs were around, and he would be barky with people. And I still think some of that was the Chihuahua in him. He was a Chihuahua pug mix, but he was always barking at people and at dogs. And with Frankie, I've been so determined to make that not happen. So I socialize her every chance I get. That's why I was excited to bring her down to San Diego. I just brought her up to Reno the week before so she could see my family. So she's constantly around people. She's constantly around dogs. It seems to be doing the trick because she does not bark at all at people or dogs. She gets excited to see everybody, and I'm thrilled. So yeah, she absolutely nailed it when we were in San Diego. And then during the night on the 30th, we opted to go check out the Gaslamp District, which was really cool. I've been there before, and it's just like really cute bars, really cute restaurants, just a couple blocks of really nice done stuff that we had a blast walking around. But the night ended, we walked into this bar. It was like a country bar or something like that. I don't know what the proper term would be for it. But so we walk in there, we get past this wall, and then we see the dance floor where there's literally, it looked like hundreds. It was at least dozens of people just in synchrony with each other, completely synchronized with each other. I think that's better wording. It was a group of people completely synchronized with each other, just square dancing away. And it looked like it was out of a movie. Every person there knew every single dance, and they didn't miss a beat. And it was the most incredible thing that I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen some incredible things, you guys. I've seen Blink-182 perform live. Okay, so think about that. Think about that. But it was wild. Everybody knew the dance moves, and I couldn't stop. Just like my mouth was dropped. My jaw was on the floor. I was in heaven. It was incredible. And when I realized that I had met the place that I needed to be, I was wearing a jacket, but it was getting hot in there quick. So we had to run back to the hotel because that's where I was like, all right, this is where the rest of the night is about to be spent. My vocabulary is incredible right now. I love speaking. I should have a radio show or something like that. Okay, what was I about to say? Sorry. Oh yeah, so then we headed back there, and for like hours, we were just trying to learn the dances. I was trying to get the dance moves on the floor, dancing alongside all of these people that knew it absolutely perfect. I was taking videos of it because it literally looked like I was in a choreographed movie, and it didn't matter if it was actually like a Western song or if they played like Drop It Like It's Hot. Everybody still knew the exact dance to the exact song, except for me. I seemed to be the only person in there who didn't know what I was doing, and I was trying to just follow along poorly. I'm a white boy, guys. Come on, I can't dance very well. But they didn't look too stoked with me. The people in there were not thrilled to see me attempting to have a good time. It was a little cocky, I gotta say. And I was talking to the people on the sidelines who were watching the dances happening, and they were like, oh yeah, these are people. They come here every week. They know all the dances. And that's why when I was getting like the little side eye for trying to have fun myself, I was like, okay, calm down. It's like almost New Year's Eve. I'm out here in San Diego. I just want to have fun and dance a little bit. But every time I tried to dance, I definitely felt like an idiot because they were looking at me. I was getting in their way. I was still having the time of my life. And I've decided that I clearly need to go to many, many more square dance bars, Western bars, whatever it is. But it was incredible. I loved it. And it set me up for a really good New Year. So what did you do this New Year's, guys? I want to know what you got up to, if you spent it in. I know a lot of people might be in because of COVID stuff. And I actually, as the actual New Year's hit, I was inside and just watching fireworks. But for the night before, it was San Diego, and it was an absolute blast, and I loved it. I got to cough really quick. I didn't bring a water in here, like I said. I'm counting down to that first commercial break so I can go and grab one. Voice crack, that's called puberty. Excuse me. All right, so now here's something I have to tell you guys. One of my favorite shows of all time, it's called Kenny versus Spinny, and you probably never heard me mention it on here, but it's kind of, I guess, in the vein and realm of like a Jackass type show. And so it's these two guys, one is named Kenny, one is named Spencer, aka Spinny, and it was broadcast and filmed in Canada, and it was just these two guys in like their townhouse. And in each episode, these two grown men do the most ridiculous competitions against each other. It's like, who can live in a van for the longest? Who can survive in the woods the longest? Who can drink the most beer? Who can smoke the most weed? And there was 6 seasons of this, of these guys just doing it. And I love that show. It's one of those shows where like every few years I have to go back and rewatch it just because I'm like, I need my Kenny versus Spinny fix. Let's do it. And it is all now on YouTube, actually, as of like last week or 2 weeks ago. So if you go to youtube.com, I'm guessing it's Kenny versus Spinny. You can watch it all there to see what I'm talking about. And you will be so amused by this show. It is so amusing. But I decided I want to own the DVDs of this. I want to get the DVDs to this show because I love it. I just want to have the physical copies. Excuse me. So they're out of print. It's not been in print for years. The show's last season, I think, was maybe in 2010 or so, and it kicked off in like 2005 or something like that. Need that water. Can I have an assistant to get me water, please? Frankenstein, please go and get me a water. Help your father out. So I ordered the show, but I had to get like all the different seasons from different areas. I got like 2 of the seasons off of eBay and 4 more of them from 2 separate orders on Etsy, which I thought was weird that they were on Etsy, but I was like, whatever. It wasn't that cheap either because they're considered rare and out of print. So I've received 4 out of my 6 seasons, okay? And so I went to go and check on the order of the 2 seasons from Etsy that I haven't gotten yet. I've gotten one of my Etsy orders, which is from one shop. I got my order from an eBay shop. But then the second order from the Etsy shop that would have been 2 of the other seasons, the 5th and 6th season, it still hasn't shipped. And I'm like, what the hell? I ordered this on December 17th. So I clicked on the shop to contact the seller, and it said the shop has been closed and no longer exists. And I'm like, what? What? Excuse me? So like I went to Google and I looked that up, and then people on Google are talking about like, hey, I think I was just scammed on Etsy. I ordered some stuff, they took my money, and then they never shipped it. Does that mean that I've been scammed? Oh, and they closed their shop. Does that mean I've been scammed? And apparently that's a scam that people do on Etsy. I've reached out to the seller now because you can still send them an email. It'll go to their email attached to their now closed account. And I just said, hey, what's the status of my order? And if I don't hear back in 2 days, I can open up a case with Etsy to hopefully get my money back. But I had never heard about people being scammed on Etsy. And I think I was just scammed on Etsy. And I'm absolutely devastated because I was so excited to get the 2 seasons of that show. Well, all 6 seasons, but those 2 seasons as well of that show, which I might not be getting. So now I just hope I get my money back. But I hope that you all check out Kenny versus Spinny. Go to YouTube, look up Kenny versus Spinny, and you will have a damn good time. You'll be cringing, you'll be laughing, you'll be having fun. Excuse me. And it gets me excited for the new Jackass movie that's coming out because, like I said, it's kind of in the realm of Jackass. And Jackass was supposed to come out in November. It got pushed to February, I'm guessing, because they wanted to wait for more movie theaters to be opened up from the pandemic. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with all that. But speaking of movies, let's just give you a box office breakdown because why not? So, you know that I love to give box office breakdowns, talk about the top performing movies that are in theaters. I'm literally going to run out of the studio really quick. I'm your host, Nick Major, and I'm joined by my dog, Frankenstein, today because my guest, Damon, decided to bail on me 20 minutes before showtime. But you know what? We're having a good time. It's already going by quick, and I need to drink my water that I just got. This episode is not brought to you by Crystal Geyser Natural Alpine Spring Water, but I'll tell you what, it is damn refreshing, and I wish that we were brought to you by them today. Shout out to my mother who just texted me. She's listening, and she said, "Those jerks scammed you. I wish them true bad luck." Thank you, Mother. I'm very glad that you have my support in this. We'll see if I open up a case with Etsy to get my money back, or maybe it'll magically surprise me and arrive in the mail, and they somehow just decided to cancel their shop for no reason. I'm pretty sure that I was scammed, everybody. Spooky, it sounds like you had a great New Year's, which I'm happy to hear that. Watched some TV, got some pad thai, the new season of Emily in Paris, which I've been hearing a lot about that show. I don't know if it'd be my type of show, though, but a show that I do want to check out that my mom mentioned to me and that I've just been hearing more about from friends is Grace and Frankie. It sounds like that could be a genuinely fun show. But back to our box office breakdown, which I was about to get to. Let's talk about the top performing films from over the weekend. Okay, number one, this is no surprise that this one is still absolutely destroying it, is Spider-Man No Way Home, which is just absolutely killing it. It brought in $84.5 million in the U.S., still smashing it. On its budget of $200 million, it has now brought in $1.4 billion with a B worldwide. So Disney is just once again raking in the cash. I'm not a big superhero movie fan, but I loved this one. I thought they killed it. I had an entire discussion with my boy Stephen Brian Jackson a couple weeks ago right here on the Nick Major Show. You can head to wherever you get podcasts from, look up the show, and hear that very spoiler-filled episode. Number two at the box office was Sing 2, the sequel to Sing 1, and that has quite the cast to it. It's the animated movie about, like, the animals that are singing. It's got Matthew McConaughey, Reese Witherspoon, Scarlett Johansson, Nick Kroll, Halsey. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. At the box office, it brought in $22 million. On a budget of $85 million, it has now made $148.4 million. And don't forget, a movie always has to make at least twice its budget before it can be considered profitable, because when it's in theaters, the movie theaters get half the ticket sales, and then the movie studios get the other half. So it's got to make twice that to at least start to see money return. Number three was The Matrix Resurrections. It brought in $10.8 million on a $190 million budget. Worldwide, it's brought in $106 million. So this movie does not look like it's going to be profitable. It's, of course, the fourth movie in the Matrix series. It brought back Keanu Reeves and some of the other original cast. I've heard mixed things about it, but what The Matrix did that I thought was really cool is, so Unreal Engine, it's like the most powerful video game engine that they make games on, is they made a Matrix experience to show off the Unreal Engine 5. And I downloaded it on my Xbox, and the graphics are so good. It's free to download, so you can check it out if you like video games. And they made like a massive city for you to just walk around in and drive around. And it is so detailed. Like I went up to a parking meter, and I changed the camera angle so I could get as close to the meter as possible. And it had all the crystal clear text on it, like the sticker on the parking meter that tells you all the details about whatever it says on a normal parking meter. It was all there. It was super clear. And I was just like, wow, the future of gaming is looking good. I'm excited about this. And the final one, rounding out the top four movies from this past weekend, was The King's Man. It's a prequel to The King's Men, which I believe there was two of those movies. This was originally supposed to come out back in 2019, but it got delayed because of the pandemic. It brought in $5.9 million. Didn't have the budget on it, but worldwide, it has brought in $48 million. So when I was in Reno, I mentioned that for Christmas, I mentioned how much it snowed there. But I thought this was absolutely crazy. So over in Virginia, there was drivers stuck in their car yesterday for 27 hours. They were on a 50-mile stretch of Interstate 90, and it was just filled with snow. And there were so many accidents that these cars were literally stuck for over 24 hours on the road and they couldn't go anywhere. There was like news choppers flying around them. And actually, the worst part is because there was nowhere for them to go and they were just on the middle of a highway in the middle of nowhere, there was this news chopper filming a guy getting out of his car, and he opened up the doors and then he took out his wiener and started peeing before the camera quickly cut away when they realized what they were filming. And I just felt so bad for that guy. And I was like, is there a lawsuit in that? Could that dude sue the news company? I don't know. He was in a public place. It was in a weird circumstance, obviously, where he had no other option. But I was like, oh my God. And growing up, my parents always said to keep like a blanket in your car in case you get stranded or anything like that. And in a situation like this one, where they were stranded for 27 hours on the highway in Virginia in the freezing cold snow, that's where you want to have a blanket in your car. So everybody, promise me you're going to keep a nice blanket in your car, maybe some pillows, because if you ever get stranded and you don't feel like freezing to death, then you'll be very happy that you did just that. Let's move on to the Betty White news that happened, everybody. This was the shocking news. It was on December 31st, the final day of 2022. So why not just hit us with one final heartbreaking loss to the year? The loss of the beloved Betty White. I'm about to cough. I can feel it, you guys. I'm sorry. There we go. Betty White, I feel like, is someone that just everybody has always loved for our entire lives. Like, she's just like the most beloved, adorable woman who every time a headline popped up with her name in it, everybody was so terrified that it was, oh no, did Betty White die? Okay, she's okay still. She's alive. And she was getting ready, I think, on January 17th to turn 100 years old, which was going to be absolutely monumental. And I had been seeing like magazine covers with her on it, like People magazine. They had a special issue with her on the cover it's still in stores, and it says, getting ready to turn 100. Betty White's feeling great still. And even as recently as 10 days ago, because even on her birthday on January 17th, they were going to be releasing a movie called Betty White: A Celebration. And it was just a bunch of different stars and celebrities talking about Betty White. I'm guessing it was going to be kind of her backstory a bit. But that event, that film includes so many names like Ryan Reynolds, Tina Fey, Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Jay Leno, Jimmy Kimmel, and so many more. And even 10 days before her death, she filmed a segment for that movie, a shout out, I believe, to fans. And she was in good spirits then. She seemed well. And it's just really sad to hear about what happened. But I did see a video that someone took in the movie theater after her death, and they were still airing promos for it as if she were alive. They've retitled it since then. I don't have the new title in front of me, but they were, and like all the narration in the trailer promoting it was very much as if she were alive. And I was like, oh, no. You guys need to update that. But her career is pretty incredible. And so she passed away on the 31st, peacefully in her sleep, they revealed. It was of natural causes, which, I mean, we couldn't have wanted her to go in any other way. That's so good to hear that, like, as sad as it is that she passed away, that it was such a graceful death, I suppose, as grim as that sounds. It was in her home, again, in Brentwood on New Year's Eve. Again, that's what I said earlier. And some reports at first questioned if she died from getting a booster shot, because I guess earlier in the week, she may have had a booster shot, but her team confirmed it had nothing to do with a booster shot. She died peacefully, naturally, in her sleep. So rest in peace, Betty White. We all absolutely adore you, and what a legend. So let's talk about the history of her a little bit. I was really excited to have my friend Damon Fizzy in here, who loves Betty White, so we could talk about her, but he's not here, and I'm not like the biggest Betty White fan, but I guess that I'll try to tell you guys what I can about her. So she's from Illinois, and she was born in 1922, but when she was 1 year old, her family moved to Los Angeles during the Great Depression, and I think that just shows how long her life was and how many things she experienced. She was moving around during the Great Depression, which is absolutely insane. And when she went to Beverly Hills High School, which is where she ended up going to school, she originally wanted to like work in the forest world, but as a ranger, I think that's what they're called, but she wasn't allowed to because she was a woman, and women weren't allowed to take on those jobs back then. But when she was in her senior year of high school, she wrote and directed a play, and she really enjoyed it. So she decided after that, you know what? I want to pursue acting, and I want to see what can happen. And at this time, if she was born in 1922, it would have been like 1938 or something, 39, when she would have been graduating high school. Maybe. I'm very bad at math. TVs like were not in houses back then. TVs were like invented in like the 1920s, like the concept of it, and it was used for more military stuff. And it wasn't until the 50s or until just after World War II that they were made more readily available to consumers in the US and in the UK, just like the old black and white TVs. But she first wanted to start doing on-camera stuff as TVs were just starting to be made for commercial use. Initially, though, she was turned down a bunch because they said she wasn't pretty enough. So she went and did radio for a bit. And then she had a couple of her own radio shows. But then in the 1950s, she got the opportunity. She created her own production company after kind of the name that she'd built for herself in radio and entertainment in general. And she made a production company. And with that, in 1953, she created a sitcom. That's the word I was looking for. A sitcom called Life with Elizabeth. She was the character, the title character, Elizabeth. And it was the first ever women-produced sitcom. And she had a lot of creative control behind it. So right off the bat, that is such a crazy thing that this was right around the time where TVs were first more popular coming into houses. And I remember, so my dad, he would have been like a kid in the mid 50s, and he had like the first maybe color TV or one of the first bigger TVs on his block. So kids would come over and watch that because it was such a cool new thing for them to check out. But she was dubbed the first lady of television after she kicked off this show, after being the first woman to produce and create a sitcom, which is awesome. And she did not slow down there. She got really well known throughout the decades for being parts of game shows, talk shows. She married the guy, I forget his name was Alan something, and I forget the show that he did. That was terrible. I shouldn't have even gotten too far into that because I don't have that in front of me. But so she was very involved in the TV world for decades and decades and decades. And then the big hit that she was best known for was The Golden Girls, which she played the character of Rose. And this was in the 1980s. It aired from 1985 to 1992. Her character was Rose. And she acted alongside Beatrice Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Estelle Getty. And this show was a hit. It was 180 episodes. And it was on from 1985 to 1992. And I just, obviously, we had the box office breakdown. I like to look up money stuff. And I wanted to see if I could figure out what kind of money Betty White earned. What's her net worth? And so here's what I found out. First off, she was rolling in dough, Betty White. So they actually haven't revealed how much she made on the show while it was happening, while it was on TV. But she made $3 million a year on Golden Girls, on the Golden Girls, just from reruns. And so the show ended in 1992. So between 92 and when she passed away, she made $87 million just off residuals of that show re-airing. So good for her. After working for decades and decades and being like a pioneer of the females in the entertainment and the TV world, I was like, girl, you deserve it. Hell yeah. And then a more recent show she did was Hot in Cleveland. And that was a 6-season show that had 128 episodes from 2010 to 2015. She made $75,000 per episode of that. So she made around $9.6 million in total with a net worth of $75 million. Not too bad at all. And what's always been so nice and hilarious about her is she's got such like a grandmotherly figure, such a loving, adorable vibe to her. But she would just do the most like ridiculous, inappropriate comedy stuff that I just loved. And throughout the years, she popped up in so many things that I feel like so many of us really enjoyed. And what I thought was strange is like, you know, when like those moments happen, like when someone just passes away or when anything happens, like you hear a song and then you happen to watch a movie and then that song is in the movie and you're like, what are the odds of that? So I was browsing Hulu and Golden Girls popped up. And I was debating, me and Ash were debating on if we wanted to watch it or not. Well, not really even debating. I was like, I need to watch Golden Girls sometime, I feel like, because I've been hearing a lot about it in the last week, especially about how iconic it was. And I didn't even really know the premise of it until I heard interviews about it. And I was like, okay, that actually sounds really good. But so we were looking at it on the Hulu screen. But then we went back to watching The Boys, one of my favorite shows of all time. And then, of course, the episode of The Boys that we hit play on right at the beginning, the entire first scene is all about the Golden Girls and all about Betty White. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what are the odds of this? Like, I understand why Golden Girls would be on Hulu and at the top of the app because she had just passed away. And I'm sure it was really popular at that time. And they're pushing it because a lot of people want to watch it. But I was just like, what are the odds that this episode of The Boys, like second to last episode of it, happens to all be about the Golden Girls? And that blew my mind. And then yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I watched King of the Hill a lot, that cartoon. I love it. And then so I got home from running some errands and I put on an episode of it. And then, of course, it's an episode where Betty White was voicing a character. And I was just like, what? What? How does this keep happening? This is just a sign from Betty White. And she's just telling me, I'm here. I'm going to stick on your radar. Don't worry. And Spooky, you said Betty White's 2010 SNL was such a hilarious episode. I also loved her show Off the Rockers, where older folks would do pranks on unsuspecting people. Oh, I remember that show. I totally forgot about that. In the 60s, my grandma was a contestant on To Tell the Truth, and Betty was one of the judges. Oh, that is so cool. And Spooky, The Rock held you when you were a baby. Your family's got some exciting history to them. But her 2010 SNL host, I think that came from a bunch of people on Facebook. Let me take a sip of water really quick. Like in 2010, there was 500,000 signatures or something of people begging SNL to let Betty White host it. And this was kind of like a resurgence of her career because I guess that she had popped up. They put her in a commercial. I don't remember what the commercial was exactly, but the commercial went viral and it was hysterical. And it just put Betty White back on everyone's radar again, kind of. And then after that, everybody was like, she needs to host SNL. So 500,000 people or something signed a petition to make it happen. And then not long after, they announced that she was going to be hosting SNL. And she was 88 years old at the time, I believe, which makes her the oldest person to have ever hosted it. And I remember when that aired. And it's crazy now that it's coming up on 12 years since that happened. But that was such an epic moment. And she made a hilarious joke about Facebook about how it seemed like a big waste of time. And she was not wrong, but I still love it. I still love it a whole lot. Gotta love us the Betty White. Anything else that I put about her? Oh, one of my favorite things that she did as well is because another one of my favorite shows of all time is Malcolm in the Middle. And she played a distant relative of the families in it. And she ended up being like this crazy woman in it. And I loved it. It was just one of those roles where you saw the sweet, kind, nice Betty White just completely turning out to be like this ridiculous, over-the-top, out-of-line character compared to what you think she would be. And I also want to say this. I don't know if you guys follow Malcolm in the Middle news at all, but I saw this today, and it blew my mind because Frankie Muniz, he's the guy who played Malcolm in the Middle. And a couple years ago, I thought it was really cool. When I was working for AP, there was a band that was playing a show at the Troubadour, and I was there checking out the band. They were the opening band, and Frankie Muniz was there. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? So I went over and chatted with him. Like, I took a picture with him, and I thought it was so cool. And I found out he managed the band that was the opener band, and they had a show like the next night out in Santa Ana, I think is where the observatory is. And then so I was like, oh, yeah, dude, I'd love to interview the band that you're managing. So I went and did that, and I'll always be like, yep, Frankie Muniz, I did a solid for you. But for years, there's been like this ongoing rumor or just like knowledge that he's like suffered strokes or something like that. And he has no memory of filming the Malcolm in the Middle episodes. He has no memory of like much of his childhood and stuff. Excuse me. That doesn't sound, I swear to God, I'm okay, guys. And he was on Steve-O's podcast, Steve-O from Jackass. So I'm circling back to Steve-O again. Hell yeah. He has a podcast where he's got a bunch of celebrities always stopping by. And they asked him about this memory loss thing that I've heard about for years and that I've always thought was so sad. And then he clarified that it was just a big misunderstanding. And he's like, no, I at one time said that so much, and the way he put it, he was like, so much happened in my childhood. I was always doing so many things that I forgot a lot of things that happened because I was always so busy in filming this show or that movie. So I don't remember a lot of things that happened. It has nothing to do with my memory loss. I just have a bad memory. I always have. And then at one point I was getting a bunch of weird sensations in my body, or like my arms would go numb. I'd lose vision and my head would hurt really bad. And he went to a doctor who said that he was having like minor strokes. And then so people put two and two together and started to say that he had had several strokes. And because of that, he couldn't remember his childhood at all. But he said that in the years since then, he went to another doctor that told him, oh no, these aren't strokes. It's similar sensations to what this kind of stroke could be, but you're just having really bad, a specific kind of migraine. And then so through this Steve-O interview, I found out, oh my God, Frankie Muniz does remember filming Malcolm in the Middle. He didn't have strokes. It was just migraines. And it was just funny to hear him talk about it. He's like, for years now, this is the first time I've actually been able to address this because everybody for years has thought I don't know that I was Malcolm and Malcolm in the Middle. And I remember that. I do. And that just made me happy because I was sad for years thinking that he didn't remember that stuff. But happy to see Betty White in so many episodes of shows that we all love because she's just an absolute legend. So incredibly sad that she did pass away. But at 99 years old, she was the longest running person on TV for the decades and decades. She was pretty much on TV from the very start up until so recently. She still always is popping up and stuff, I feel like. I mean, her TV show that she was on back in 2015, Hot in Cleveland. So she was doing a lot of stuff. And it's a bummer. I would have loved to have heard what Damon had to say about her. But I am happy to hear that it was a peaceful passing. in her bed at her home, and she always believed that she'd see her husband Alan again when she passed away. So if that turned out to be true, I'm so happy for her. The legacy that she left behind is so incredible, and she will never, ever, ever be forgotten. Rest in peace, Betty White. Joined today by Frankenstein, my dog. And hello, Zuko. I see you on Twitter, Zuko the Pug. Ash's dog says, currently waiting for my girlfriend Frankie to make another appearance. Frankie has 2 boyfriends because she likes to mess around. One is Biggie, who is my coworker Fish's dog. You can catch his show here every Thursday. And the other is Ash's pug, Zuko. So she gets the best of both worlds. She just has lots of options. She likes options. Frankie is living the good life, and I love it. So we just wrapped up talking about Betty White, who sadly passed away on December 31st, but very fitting just to, you know what, end the year with that. I'm happy that I don't know how to say that without sounding terrible. You know what? I don't know where I was trying to go with that or how I'm trying to word it. I meant to say something nice there, but I feel like it was sounding bad. I'm just glad that we got a full year with her, and it wasn't a terrible start to a new year, okay? We miss you, Betty White. She got 5 Primetime Emmy Awards, 2 Daytime Emmy Awards. She has a star on the Walk of Fame, and we love her. Betty White, this goes out to you. That was me. I can do that with my mouth. Pretty incredible. So here's a case that happened, and I've been following it as it's been going on. And what happened was I forget where he immigrated from, but his name, I'm probably going to say it wrong, Rogel Aguilar Medeiros. He's 26 years old now, but back in 2019 on April 25th, he was driving a semi-truck for work, one of those big 18-wheelers that we all see. We all know what semi-trucks are. At some point, the brakes failed on it, so he couldn't use his brakes, and those things are huge, and we've all seen them. We know how big they are. And he ended up crashing into parked traffic on a freeway that killed 4 people. And then a couple weeks back, he was sentenced in Colorado, where it happened, to 110 years in prison. And the judge at the time, he even said he felt it was excessive, but because of all the charges against him that he was guilty of, that was a mandatory sentence. It had to be served consecutively, and he had no choice but to impose it. And he was obviously devastated to find out that he was devastated from the whole thing to begin with, because the brakes went out. He didn't go out there intending to hurt anybody. The judge even said you weren't intending to hurt anybody. But a couple things happened along the way to where the families of the victims wanted to make sure that he got some sort of fairly harsh punishment. And some of it's to their credit, because on freeways, on highways, even up in like Lake Tahoe, where I grew up near, and just on any highways or freeways, they always have these off-ramps for runaway trucks, to where if your brakes do go out, because they know it's something that can happen, you're supposed to take your truck, go on that runaway ramp, and then there's either like barrels of water or bumpy rocks that'll slow you down just to get you off the road so you won't hit any cars, so you can come to a stop. And I remember years ago, there was an incident that happened like this in Lake Tahoe, where there was a truck whose brakes went out, and then it used the runaway path. But right on the other side of the runaway path was this house. And the truck went through the runaway stop, got through all the barricades that are supposed to slow it down, and it just blasted through this house. I think it killed the people in the house. Maybe it didn't, but either way, it was pretty horrific. So this truck driver back in 2019, after his brakes went out, he passed, and there's a video footage of it from people who were filming the truck as it was going down. There was smoke coming out of it. He couldn't stop it. He passed 2 separate exit ramps that the truck was supposed to use if its brakes went out. He passed them. He just flat out did not use them, and he kept just going down the road until he eventually came to the stop where he hit the traffic and killed the 4 people. And the families were saying, listen, we know that he couldn't control the brakes going out, but he could have controlled using the stops, using the ramps that he's supposed to use, that he's supposed to be trained to use. And that is what the big argument has been, is no, it wasn't his fault to do that. He didn't intend on killing anybody. But as a professional truck driver on the road, when situations like that happen, you need to be able to do the right thing. You need to be able to assess the situation and pull off and use one of those truck ramps so that exact scenario that he is now guilty of doesn't happen. But a lot of people all around the world have been saying that 110 years is way too harsh of a sentence for someone who didn't intentionally do this. And big names like Kim Kardashian started to come out about it and say, like, this shouldn't be happening. He shouldn't get 110 years. And so Colorado Governor Jared Polis last week, he commuted the sentence and reduced it to a 10-year sentence rather than 110 years. So he knocked 100 years off of it. He's going to be eligible for parole in December of 2026 now. So in 4 years, or just about 5 years, he's going to be eligible for that. And what do you guys think about that? Should he still, is that fair? Should he spend more time because he didn't do his duty of pulling off? Is the 10 years an adequate sentence for that? And I do believe it is. That's a decade off his life if he doesn't get out for parole, which even if he is out then in 5 years or so, do you think that's enough time to pay for his crimes? I'm sure that the families, they don't. I think I saw one of them said that they, after the 110 years was given out, they said he deserves something. Like they suggested 7 years or so, I think. So it looks like it could fall in line with that now. The families weren't too excited to see Kim Kardashian get involved, though. They were like, stay out of this. Kim Kardashian, you don't have anything to do with this. But she's kind of made a name lately of getting involved with political stuff, legal stuff, when she thinks that she can use her platform to benefit people that she feels are being wronged by the system. But a heartbreaking case regardless, because it left 4 people dead. And this guy, he just didn't follow the protocol that he should have been following when the brakes went out on his truck. So I do think he deserves some prison time to pay for that. I mean, that's just what happens, unfortunately, and it is heartbreaking for everyone involved. So hopefully everyone feels like justice is served. It wasn't an intentional incident, that he'll maybe be able to see the light of day at some point. It sounds like he will now, but I've been following this since it first happened, and I remember thinking even like, oh gosh, that 110 years is pretty rough. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But yeah, good stuff, exciting stuff. And now, since it's a one-man show, I'm trying to see if there's any other things that I really wrote down to talk about, because I was expecting to have a guest here with me, which would have led to a bit more back and forward banter. But because he's not, it's just me, and I don't really know if I have much more to ramble on about. If there's anything exciting that has gone on recently that I should touch on, let me know, and I'll see if we can cover it. If not, we might end a couple minutes early here, just so I'm not annoyingly rambling with not exciting stuff, because I would hate to just bore you guys. But most importantly, I want to just give one more shout out to Betty White, because I'm so sad that she passed away, but I'm so happy that we got to experience a life with her, and she didn't quite make it to 100 years old. My mom, she picked up the People magazine with her on the cover because she texted me a picture of it just now. And she also said, which I remember now, the commercial was a Super Bowl commercial where she got tackled by a football player. And that was the one that just blew up, and it put her right back in the limelight. And that's where people signed the petition, like, get her on SNL. And Spooky, you mentioned the SNL intro or episode that she was on. And I love it. I love it all. Betty White, we love you. We miss you. So sorry you had to go, but I'm so happy to hear that it was a peaceful exit from this world. You are an absolute legend, an iconic angel. You will be missed. And I guess for now, though, Frankie, you ready to wrap it up a little early, I guess? I guess it makes sense. So thank you all so much for tuning in to the Nick Major Show. I hope you all have a fantastic 2022. Whatever your resolutions are, let's follow them. Let's make them happen. I just want to do more interviews. I want to chat with your favorite artists and just see what I can do as the world is opening back up. I want to go to lots of shows. I got Billie Eilish coming up. I got Oliver Tree coming up. Those are 2 shows I'm so excited for. Check out my interview with Oliver Tree if you haven't, because that was such a fun, good time. And I want to start going to movies a lot more. I want to see more movies. I want to watch more shows. And yeah, a show that did I mention it earlier? Grace and Frankie. I want to start checking that out. My mom, yeah, I did say that earlier. So maybe I'll buckle down and watch that. But don't worry, Spooky. I know Succession, that is also on my list. I promise. I'm once again Nick Major. We'll be back here live next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Happy 2022. Thank you all so much for listening, as always. And let's be happy, positive, healthy, all that good stuff. Bye.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole-in-one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Saving at the Home Depot means you can do more for less. Like making your laundry and life easier with an LG wash tower that automatically detects fabric texture and load size. Enjoy savings on top-rated appliances online, in-store, or on the Home Depot app. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last. Valid 1/6 through 1/26/2022. Free delivery applies to orders of $396 or more.